you're live.
It still says off air for me, so I'm going to wait until it says live. Welcome to the 4-Point Play. Two mates talking about the NBA, 4 subjects every week. Alberto, it's a pleasure again to be chatting to you today. How are you doing, man?
Likewise, I'm good.
How has been your week so far?
Well, the week has been great. I've been watching a few unusual teams like the Sacramento Kings. And you know me, I've been watching Dallas because I love Doncic.
Well, that's great. Look, I wanted to, I guess, get a recap between what happened since last week, last time we spoke, and just a few highlights that I wanted to bring up before we dive into the topics for the day. But I'm just going to hit you with a few things, and then you can just pick the one that you want to talk about. So this week, 1 week of NBA, we had the Warriors Avalanche in offense. So we had the 51 points from Curry, the 25 points 4 quarter from KD in New York, and just yesterday, if my memory is correct, the 52 points from Klay Thompson was breaking the 3-point record.
52 points in 26 minutes.
26, 27. Yes, that's correct. That's just one thing which happened this week. Okay, I'm putting everything into one for the Warriors. The second thing is the Bucks are still undefeated. So we can talk about that. The third thing is Rockets keep losing games, and they've lost Harden as well. He's probable to come back on Friday, but more likely later that weekend. Tyronn Lue got fired. OKC had their first win. The Washington Wizards are on the verge of exploding, and they're already hating each other, and they lost again to Memphis today. And so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Dude,
6.
Memphis isn't that bad.
No, they're not that bad, but they're not that good either. So that's six things which in any normal NBA week would certainly get people talking for at least 3 or 4 or 5 days, and they all happen in 7 days. Which one were you most, excited, sad, curious, or keen to talk about?
That's a good question. I would actually. Do you want to talk about Ben Simmons' triple-double? 11 points, 10 assists, and 11 turnovers.
That's not on my list. This is regular NBA.
Let's start with the Cavs. Actually, they won the first game tonight without a coach.
True. And so it's interesting because since Tyronn Lue got fired, the interim coach, Larry Drew, I was just reading today that he actually hasn't signed. They haven't come to an agreement to sign his contract, so they're kind of in limbo, and they technically don't have an officially a head coach. So they might be looking elsewhere. But what's kind of interesting to me regarding Tyronn Lue is basically, he was always, let's not, beat around the bush. He was always kind of working in the shadow of LeBron James when LeBron was there. And since 6 games into the new season, he's being fired without really having the opportunity to actually develop that team and work on that team. I don't think the Cavs really had a plan for what they were going for. And whether it's Ty Lue or any other coach, I don't think makes such a big difference.
Yeah. No.
What are your thoughts on Ty Lue actually being the first coach being fired?
My thoughts are quite simple. There are different layers of coaches. There are those coaches that are great for teams that are tanking, and there are coaches that are great to take one team from a tanking position to like a 40, 50 wins. There are coaches that are good to take a team from a 45 wins to a 60 win, and then only to the Western Conference Finals. Mike D'Antoni. And there are some coaches that know how to take a win. I mean, a team to the championship, and we're talking. Think about Steve Kerr. What if Steve Kerr that summer he actually signed with the Golden State Warriors? He had a pretty big offer from New York.
Yeah.
What if he was gonna sign with New York? Would we be talking about Steve Kerr like we talk now? And same for like Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson did really well. Obviously, he took the Chicago Bulls from what the Eastern Conference semifinals to 6 championships. But then, as soon as he got the job with the Knicks, obviously as a president, not as a coach, he failed miserably.
Mm.
So Tyronn Lue is really good at PR. He's really good at dealing with big names, and that's what a coach for a big team needs to do. That's what he needs to do. So for a team like the Cavs, Tyronn Lue is of no use, especially because the Cavs have no strategy. They
Mm.
have no idea what they want to do. They have no idea if they're gonna keep Love. They won't be able to trade Love. They want to trade J.R. Smith. They want to trade Kyle Korver. Um, they want to give minutes to Saxton, to Sadie Osman, to Larry Nance, to even Decker. But for what? Like they're tanking from day one. They didn't even give Tyronn Lue the time to prove himself. But at the same time, 0-6 in the Eastern Conference, that's a bad start. That's a bad start.
I guess it's today they have the same record as Washington, and Scott Brooks is not getting fired, and I think that Brian Windhorst was reporting that he's unlikely to get fired. His contract is just too big for Washington to pay out.
I
And
don't
they
understand
probably
how Scott Brooks has a place in the NBA. Do you
they
know that
probably
Scott
need a
Brooks
few
was
more
a
losses before they can before they can fire him. Yeah, sorry, you were gonna say?
no, no, I was just gonna say, do you know that Scott Brooks was actually a playmaker for the Houston Rockets? I think he won 1 or 2 titles.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't know. Interesting.
Yeah,
But to me, just to come back on Tyronn Lue, I think the biggest my biggest takeaway is that he wasn't really given the opportunity to play with that group and to see what this group could become. I think there were talks before the season that everyone on the Cavs was saying, well, our goal is still to make the playoffs and I guess compete in the league. Starting 0-6 is it's difficult, but at the same time, if we are realistic about the Cavs' expectations, they shouldn't expect to win a championship.
yeah,
May
but
I remind you that Gilbert said when LeBron left, he said, "Hey, the Cavs are going to bring a championship before you in Miami." So maybe he just doesn't know what he's doing. Okay.
yeah, but that's BS. Like the management has no idea what they were gonna do. They had no idea what they were gonna do. They started 0-6, and it's not about the record. It's about the fact that he wasn't playing, that he was still playing J.R. Smith and Carver.
Yeah,
They need someone to develop their talent, the young talent, and that's it. That's
yeah,
what the decision was
yeah.
based on.
Possibly, I don't know. I think he was still giving minutes to the young guys, and handing the keys to the youth. Like you still have to play your veterans every now and then. Like it's not like Trevor Ariza is hitting the bench in Phoenix either. If you take another example, obviously they signed him this off season and paid him a good contract, so they're going to make him play. But JR and Love, etc. They and Corver, they're still good players, and they can still, especially at the beginning of the season, I think it makes sense. But anyways, that was an interesting topic. I think a lot of other things happen in that week. It's interesting that you chose that. Let's get into the I guess the core of the subjects that I wanted to talk about this week. And the first one is a topic that we didn't cover last week, which is talking a little bit about the rookies.
The rookies.
Yeah, because we have quite an interesting class of rookies this season. Certainly, in terms of the numbers, they've been quite impressive. I'm just going to talk about the points per game just as a statistic. I'm a bit of a stat nerd, but I try not to bring too many. But as of today, I think you have Doncic leading the rookies with 20.4 points per game, followed by Trae Young 18.3, DeAndre Ayton 17.5, and Jaren Jackson with 13 points a game. I don't know from my memory if we've had a class of rookies having so many points so early in the season, and so many of them. So usually you have one or two rookies who are really good and making a difference, but 20 points a game is massive. And yes, they may be in teams which are not necessarily competing for a title now, but still, it is very impressive. What is your take on? I want to start, comparing, I guess, the three guys who, to me, are the top three rookies so far, which are Doncic, Ayton, and Trae Young. So what are your thoughts on these three rookies? And following that, do you have any thoughts on other rookies that you wanted to talk about?
Man, let me ask you a question. Who do you think is my favorite rookie?
Well, I know who your favorite rookie is. You don't need to ask me the question. I know it's
No.
Doncic.
That's wrong. That's wrong.
Okay, so it's not Luka Doncic.
It's not Luka.
Oh, interesting.
I can't even pronounce his name. It's Gilgeous-Alexander by the Clippers.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yes.
Yeah, because I was a big fan of Sean Livingston when he was drafted by the Clippers, and I read an article on The Ringer that actually compares him to Sean Livingston.
Okay.
I really like the way he's playing. Doc Rivers doesn't let rookies play a lot, and he's playing consistently every single night. He's putting up good stats, obviously not as good as the other three. But at the end of the day, the other three are going to be franchise players. Luka Doncic is obviously he's my jam. Luka's good, man. Luka's good. And he's part of, he's being coached by Rick Carlisle. He's part of a good team, Dallas. They're not going to make the playoffs. Maybe they're going to push for the playoffs late in the season, but we will see. And they have Derek. He's got everything. He's got all the tools to learn and to become one of the top 10 in 3 years. And also next year he's gonna tone a little bit. He's gonna lose some weight. He's gonna put on some muscle. He's gonna get better. Ayton is phenomenal. Honestly, I wasn't expecting Ayton to be that. He's got his skills are amazing. He's so polished. But he doesn't know how to play basketball.
Why do you say that?
As a team, he has no idea, unfortunately. Especially if you compare him to Doncic. But he's going to be good. He's going to learn a lot, and the Suns have a really bright future, very bright future. And he's putting up really good stats. Like I told you a couple of weeks ago, Ayton is going to put up better stats than Doncic. But I think that Doncic is going to be like a better player.
So obviously they don't play the same position, so it's a little bit, I would say, unfair to compare their approach of the game and how they're playing. I'm interested to, or curious, or I want to say I disagree with your statement that Ayton cannot play basketball or doesn't know how to play basketball
in a team.
I've certainly been very impressed with his skills on the court. I feel that he reads the defenses quite well, knows when to make the best play on the court, more often than not. He doesn't have that many turnovers or places where times where you see him being completely, I guess, out of the play. He reads the pick and rolls quite well. He's averaging close to 4 assists a game, and
yeah, that's impressive. That's impressive.
For someone who doesn't know how to play NBA, well, basketball first of all doesn't make it to the NBA, but I get what you're saying.
Dude, that's an exaggeration, especially because
I know
because you stole it for me,
but
in
I
the
wouldn't
basketball NBA.
on the fantasy league that we're in. I wouldn't say that he doesn't know how to play basketball. His skills are probably not as polished as Doncic, but Doncic is a one in a lifetime talent. The guy is 19. How high can he go? We still don't know. I think what impresses me most about Doncic is the fact that he doesn't look explosive. He doesn't have the size of a DeAndre Ayton or the range of a Trae Young or the explosiveness of Jaren Jackson Jr. or anything like that. But he just finds his place on the court, and everybody was worried that he was going to struggle against NBA defenses, etc. Averaging 20 points a game, even I know it's a small sample, in the NBA as a rookie. I mean, the sky is the limit for this guy. Very, very impressive.
Yeah, I was
One
not
of the
expecting that either.
Yeah, one of the so in these top three that we don't talk about, there's a lot of talk about Ayton and Doncic and Trae Young a little bit because he had one big scoring game, like good game where he scored 35 and 11 assists, if my memory is correct. So I want to come back to the fact that Dallas traded for Doncic and Atlanta chose Trae Young. And everybody was saying, "Oh, well, what a bad decision it is." And I know it's early, but I gotta say, I've been positively surprised that Trae Young is not such a bad player. I think he has certain skills which apply to the game. He's probably not as polished as Doncic right now, but that doesn't mean that he can be a really good player and possibly an all-star as well later on. What are your thoughts on Young?
I think Trae Young playmaking skills are very underrated. He knows how to. His team plays well. Like he knows how to lead the team. Obviously, he's very famous for his scoring and for his 3-point, but he's also a really good playmaker. Me personally, the thing with the NBA rookies, you're always going to be compared to the ones that have been picked before or after
Yeah.
you.
Mm-hmm.
That's always going to happen. That's an inspiration, that's motivation for NBA players. I remember seeing an interview by Draymond Green, who I think is being picked like number 35 or 35 by the Golden State Warriors, and he remembered every single player that had been picked before him.
Yeah,
So it's impossible to get out of that discussion. Oh, Trae Young is great, but you have Ayton and you have Doncic, and you might even have Jaren Jackson in the future. That's very difficult. He's a really good player. Is he going to be an all-star? I think so. Is he going to be his impact going to be as big as Doncic? I don't think so. Is his impact going to be as big as Ayton? Maybe. But he's also very unlucky because Doncic is playing with, Dallas is pretty good, and he's not tanking. Phoenix is pretty good. They're on. They want to get better every year, but Atlanta is just there to lose every game. But
I think it starts somewhere, and I think if Atlanta is rebuilding and they got a good young core. You look at Young, you look at Prince, you look at John Collins. I think they have a young core, which is good, and they make me think a little bit about the Nets. I think the Nets are a little bit more advanced in their development, but they're on the right path, and they know it's going to take time, and they know it's going to be hard, and possibly not every rookies or sophomore or young players is going to turn out to be great, but they're trying something, and I certainly I don't want. I think it's way too early to say that they've made a mistake in not picking keeping Doncic.
No.
And so far, the results for me are encouraging for them, and I certainly give them credit for the trade that they've done. I don't think it was as bad as a trade as what may have been portrayed before.
Yeah, but everyone forgets about a team that's actually doing very well. 5-3, and who actually picked number 2, Marvin Bagley.
Yeah, yeah. Do you think the Kings are for real?
The Kings are now for real. The Kings are going to be fun, but they're not for real. I remember Orlando started 4-0 last year.
Yeah, yeah,
The Kings are fun. They are solid. They have a really good coach who did really well in Memphis, but I don't know why it took him almost 3 years to get Sacramento to have like to be 2 games over 500. But the West is just crazy, dude. There's no way Sacramento's going to make the playoffs. If Sacramento makes the playoffs, I'm gonna move back to Sydney. I don't think that's going to happen. Sacramento making the playoffs, maybe me moving to Sydney, but think about the Lakers. The Lakers are 2-5. The Thunder are 2-4. Sacramento's
yeah.
5-3. But they also played, if I'm not mistaken, quite a few teams from the Eastern Conference. Still, they deserve to be there because you still need to win those games. But if you think about the
Absolutely. They won
Pelicans,
against the Thunder. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. The Pelicans, they were the top team in the NBA or in the Western Conference like 2 games ago. And now they're
Yeah.
number 7 because they lost 2 games.
Yeah, obviously you're gonna have a lot of variations early in the season because one game can drop you in the standings quite significantly. They've also lost Anthony Davis for a little while. He hasn't played the last 2 games, and yeah, they lost with him when he wasn't there. Yeah, I'm looking at the wins that the Kings had. They won against the Thunder. They won against Memphis. They won against Washington,
Miami, Charlotte, I
and
think.
Orlando.
Orlando, yeah.
And
You
they
know
lost
what?
against Denver and the Pelicans.
Oh, the
So
the only 3
and
teams with a
Utah.
better
Sorry.
record than Sacramento right now, with more wins than Sacramento, are the Warriors,
Yeah,
Milwaukee, and Toronto. That's it.
yeah, yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I think it's a fluke. I don't think it's for real, and I think we won't be talking about Sacramento again in the future. You brought Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as I guess the most promising rookie that you like watching. Is there anyone else from the class, from the rookie class, who you want to talk about? Colin Sexton, Josh Okogie, Kevin Knox injured, Wendell Carter.
Yeah, man. Kevin Knox is going to be
DiVincenzo.
good. Kevin Knox is going to be good. He was pretty unlucky with his injury, but I think like last year, this is a really good class.
Yeah,
I think that DiVincenzo is going to be very solid for the Bucks, especially when they need 10-15 minutes in the playoffs. He's going to be good. One other player that I really like is Okogie. But I also believe that I don't know what's gonna happen in Minnesota, so that's going to be crazy. My question is, remember last year Donovan Mitchell? No one knew about Donovan Mitchell in the first 5 games, and then it
Apart
comes
from
out to
Utah,
be apart from Utah, and in the first 5 games, I think he played like 10 minutes per game, and then he comes out and I think he's scoring 24 points a game. And he did really good playoffs last year. And also Miles Bridge, but me, I would put my penny on for the top 5 rookies. I would say Doncic, Ayton, Trae Young, Kevin Knox, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander.
Okay. So
in terms of impact.
Dropping Mobamba, dropping Jaren Jackson, and Bagley. I think you have a point there. I think Ayton, Doncic, and Trae Young are locks in certainly future very good players, very likely. I think for the other ones, I still want to see them develop and see what they become. I'm not as high as on Kevin Knox as what you may be, but I haven't really seen him play either, and I think we Well, that's a pretty good transition to our second subject topic, which is the Knicks. Because to me, we need to see what the hell is happening with the Knicks. I have no idea what they're doing. Um, what I wanted to throw at you for the Knicks is I'm going to give you their starting five, and then you're gonna tell me what would you do if you were the franchise owner. Starting five for the Knicks right now is Trey Burke, Courtney Lee, Tim Hardaway Jr., Mario Hezonja, and Enes Kanter. Six
Okay.
men, I would say Frank Nitilikina. He starts sometimes, and Kevin Knox is injured. So they've had a couple of rotations, and Porzingis is injured. I want
If
to
I
talk about the
were
team right
the
now,
if I
what
were
they
the
have on the floor
GM,
right now. Yeah.
I would just sit down, have a few meetings with some really good free um, agent, like Kevin Durant's agent or whoever is going to be a free agent next year, and just enjoy the season and let Fitzdale do everything he wants to do. Because the Knicks are going to be bad this year. They need to do one thing. They need to fight every single night, especially when they play at the Madison Square Garden. They need to fight. And that's where the fans, they get excited about the Knicks fighting. But in terms of, they just need to keep on developing, winning a few games, hopefully win more games than last year. But next year the Knicks are going to be either completely different, or they're going to be even worse than this year.
Yeah, my problem and what I don't see happening with the Knicks is if indeed this year is the last year, especially with Porzingis injured and we don't know when he's coming back, if he's coming back. Why don't they just play the young guys? Mitchell Robinson, who's I don't know where they picked him, but he's a rookie. Is not playing. He's not starting. He doesn't have much playing time. Frank Ntilikina, they're still trying to figure out what he is and where he plays, and Fizdale is trying all these weird things. I'm okay with that to a certain extent, but Tim Hardaway Jr. still gets the share of the minutes and the points and the shots. Same for Enes Kanter. Is that really the future of the franchise? Is that even what the fans want to see? Like get your young guys on the floor. Do what Phoenix is doing. Just let them play, and at least the crowd can have fun in watching the young kids develop. But I just don't see. I don't know. I don't see Fizdale doing the right moves early in the season with regards to player development. It's interesting. I like Fizdale as a coach because he doesn't care about the analytics. But I think for this team, you actually have to. You actually have to look at the long-term plays and what you're going to do and who you should be playing where, as opposed to just trialing things to see if they work and see what sticks. So yeah, I'm really confused by what the team is doing. Whereas for everyone else, I can kind of see a path, even if it's not a great one. And I'm worried. I don't think that's selling a good franchise, even if it's New York, even if it's the biggest market in the US, for any free agent to sign next year.
Oh
Yeah,
man, like Kevin Durant, I don't think Kevin Durant is going to the Knicks at
yeah,
all.
I don't think either. I
But
certainly don't think he should.
at the same time, I disagree with you because Fitzdale is doing what he's supposed to do, and what he's supposed to do is try to win and to get the Knicks to fight for the playoffs. And in the meantime, what they need to do is they need to develop Mitchell Robinsons and and also they have Alonzo Trier, however you pronounce it, and Kevin Knox. So in for those terms, I think Fitzdale is doing quite well. The thing is, there's going to be a point where they're gonna say, okay, don't play Anis Kanter, just play Mitchell Robinson. The thing with Mitchell Robinson is that he's, first of all, he's massive, but he's very basic. I don't know how long he's played basketball for, but he's very basic.
Mm, mm.
Um, and Tilikina, he needs to take more responsibility. It's his responsibility at this point after 1 year in the league. I think he's 20 now, or he's played in France for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So he needs to step up. He's done it in the last few games, but he needs to do it consistently. And for Tim Hardaway Jr., he's the kind of player that right now can only play for a team like the Knicks. But
It's interesting. I think he'd be great as a six man in any team competing. That's where I see him. I don't see him as a
man,
starter.
he's as good as he's a better Lance Stevenson in terms of shooting, but less creative.
Yeah. No, he's an okay player, but you can't. How can you have? How can he be your main guy right now?
But that's the reason why the Knicks are not going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly, and that's why they should play the young guys more. And I don't know, just find a path to success, even if it's 2 years or 3 years from now.
Have you watched the Knicks?
I did a couple of games, yes.
Okay, because I watched the first few games because I was very interested in Kevin Knox and the Knicks. I think he's actually playing them a lot, in my point of view. The thing is that he's playing Alonzo Trier, who's a rookie. He's playing Mitchell Robinson. I think he's played like 10, 15 minutes. He was playing Kevin Knox a lot. He's actually benched Enes Kanter, and he wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
That's what you gotta do, is trying to find the balance between the rookies and actually winning. And I think that's the right thing to do for the Knicks right now. He's not like, I was angry with Philly last year. I mean, not last year, sorry, in the last few games, because they didn't play Fultz and they played TJ McConnell. But I think that's the right balance.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. No one excites me on the Knicks, and I really think that in terms of future of the franchise, I don't see a path for them, and I think they unfortunately going to be really bad for a really long time, and that's not great for the league either. Cool. Okay. One more topic for me, and then I'll hand over to you. I wanted to talk about. So it's still early in the season, but we have had 8 new coaches starting this season. So let me I guess remind them to you. Nick Nurse for the Raptors, Dwayne Casey for the Pistons, Steve Clifford for the Magic, Mike Budenholzer for the Bucks, Lloyd Pierce for the Hawks, James Borrego for the Hornets, Fizdale for the Knicks, and Igor Kokoskov for Phoenix. So everybody in the East except for Phoenix. I'm not counting Larry Drew for the Cavs for the purpose of this exercise. My question to you is simple. Early in the season, who do you think so far has had the biggest impact on the team as a coach? Because I guess that maybe you answered, but I want to say it's easy to pick Budenholzer because the Bucks are undefeated, etc. But I haven't seen the Bucks changing their playing style so much. I just think that they're getting better every year, and they've had a schedule. They've had a few good wins, but they've also had a schedule which allows them to be undefeated. Is there a coach that you have seen having, I guess, quite a significant impact on the way the team plays and the way, the team is built and develops out of all these coaches?
The top 2 teams are new in the NBA, are coached by Budenholzer and Nick Nurse. So, maybe the Bucks are not playing any differently than last year, but the difference is, I was reading this stat, that Antetokounmpo and Middleton were 5th and 7th last year in minutes played per game.
Mm-hmm.
And this year they are 55th and 59th.
Mm-hmm.
That's massive. That's massive. That's a massive difference. Nick Nurse, he is definitely shooting, letting the Raptors shooting more threes. And but to answer your question, it's very tough. It's very tough because I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I haven't had the chance to watch all of the games. And for me, I would say, let me reverse your question. I'm going to give you the opposite. The one who's made the least impact, and that's actually shown like a much better result, is Dwayne Casey. I watched
Mm.
Detroit. They are
Mm-hmm.
awful to watch. Awful. I don't know how Detroit won the first 4 or 5 games. I think Detroit, yeah, they're 4-2.
Yeah, they're sitting at 4-2. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they have a
Detroit, they're
positive record.
awful, and they remind me of, well, with all the comparisons, they remind me of, the OKC when Scott Brooks was coaching them, because
Mm.
you have two and a half really good players, but there's no strategy. So it's, oh, give me the ball. I'm Blake Griffin. I'm gonna invent something, or otherwise I'll just give it to Andre Drummond. The Pistons are bad. The Pistons are going to be bad in my point of view. Nick Nurse is solid, to be honest. He was quite lucky because the foundation of the Raptors is there, and it was built by Dwayne Casey. And
Mm-hmm.
also you have that alien who's like Kawhi Leonard. But I would say that, yeah, that Milwaukee and Toronto, like those two coaches. And I was actually expecting more from Kokoshkov. But it's got time. And I really
Mm.
like, I don't know why, I really like James Borrego of Charlotte. So
Okay.
I like him.
What?
Maybe he's just a nice guy.
It's interesting. I think to me, and we're coming back a little bit to what we were discussing before, but I think Fizdale is certainly having an impact on the team, whether it's a good impact or a negative one. Well, we certainly think differently. Um, I see what you mean with when you say that the Mike Budenholzer is playing Giannis and Middleton a bit less. They've also been winning quite easily, I think, against most of the teams that they've played. So you don't necessarily need to have them play a lot more. But he's also known for reducing playing time from his star players and keeping them fresh, I guess, for the playoffs. I would disagree with on the Pistons. I find that I think Dwayne Casey is going to be a very good coach for them. I think he can help them actually structure the team. It's early in the season, and that's where it's really hard to see what coach is having a big impact because, well, they're still adjusting. Only a few weeks ago they were still just getting back into the swing of things and doing their first practices, etc. Yeah, I like the approach that Steve Clifford is having with the Magic. I think he's, trialing the new guys like the Mobamba and seeing, for instance, giving more responsibilities to Aaron Gordon, and who's from the beginning, it's been 3 years that we've said, well, this guy should be, is their franchise player, and they should invest in him and then play more and then make him a playmaker, Blake Griffin type of guy. And I think he's letting him do that a little bit more. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with Vucevic. If they decide to keep him, if they trade him, what do they get in return, and what's going to happen this season? I don't think he finishes the season with the Magic, but I may be wrong. Especially if they start, well, if they continue their kind of, well, they're not great, but let's say if they win more games and are in playoff contention,
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting. Yeah, I think a few of these coaches have still have a tough challenge in front of them, and but it'd be interesting to see how they develop. I'm not surprised by the Bucks' record to start the season. I certainly think they have a strong team. I would make the argument for them to be the third team in the West, in the East, sorry, behind Toronto and Boston, and possibly, yeah, certainly over Philly. Well, possibly over Philly. And yeah, so their record doesn't surprise me. I think they have a good coach, and they can possibly make some noise in the playoffs this year.
Yeah, man,
All
I think
right.
the Bucks are good, and they beat the Pacers, they beat Philadelphia, they beat Minnesota, they beat the Raptors, obviously without Kawhi, but they're good. They're good.
Cool. That's all for my topics.
All
But
right,
that's
man.
only my 3-point play. So what's your 4-point play? What's your fourth topic? What did you want
Well,
to talk
my
about?
fourth topic, you can actually pick if you want to talk. Do you want to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers 2-5, or do you want to ask a very difficult question? In my point of view, I was watching, in the morning. I was just watching the first few plays of Orlando, and I'm there and I'm thinking, what's gonna take the Orlando Magic to get back to like a fifth or sixth position? Because they had Aaron Gordon, they picked Isaac Austin or Isaac, sorry, Jonathan Isaac,
Jonathan Isaac, yeah.
and then they picked Mo Mamba, and then they have Fournier, who's really good. They have Vucevic. They are so average that they should be average at least, and they're not. They're 2-5. So and it's been like a couple of years like that. What's going to take, and obviously we're gonna talk about trades here, but what's going to take the Orlando Magic to get back to like a fifth or sixth position? And I'm asking because I started watching the NBA in 94, 95 when Shaq was big, Penny was big, D3, Horace Grant.
Yeah.
My first NBA hat was actually Orlando Magic, so kind of have a sympathy for them.
Yeah, that's a tough question. I don't know. I think it's one of these teams which is developing, and which is I think trying to find what's going to stick, and build around one or two players. I like Isaac and I like Mobamba. I think in 1 or 2 years they might develop in pretty strong guys, and if you have this plus Aaron Gordon as possibly a franchise player, I think you have a good core young team, and you're maybe one superstar away from getting back to the playoffs and competing. It's hard. It's going to be hard, and certainly Orlando right now is not an attractive destination. But who knows what they get back with if and when they trade Vucevic, and they might include, who knows, maybe they include Fournier and they get I don't know, like what if Jimmy Butler was to sign there? Suddenly for Fournier and Vuce. I
think Vucevic is getting
right now, but
is getting paid a lot, but a strange good destination for Vucevic would be Houston. I don't think he fits into the salary cap, but I would like to see Vucevic playing for Houston.
So next to Capella?
Yeah, and Vucevic can shoot can shoot threes. I think he could play really well, and he could be obviously not Ariza, and he could not defend who Ariza was defending last year, but still, it'll be good. But I think, oh man, we forgot to talk about Houston. Damn.
Well, they were in my list of rapid fire topics to discuss. I think Mike D'Antoni came out today and said that they've lost their swagger, and that they can't play right now. I think I'm not ready to bury them yet. I think they're probably a couple of games away from James Harden 250 points game in a row or something like that, going crazy, and just reminding everyone that, hey, I'm the reigning MVP and I can still win games by myself, and we're back in the fold, and let's start our season. I think he's watching from the sidelines right now, being injured, and seeing his team lose. Hopefully, it's going to make him realize that, well, he needs to step up. And yes, it's a different team, but you've had I don't know, they've just been weird. They've just been like, I've watched some of the games, and it's like they don't care, but
Yeah, they
they
lost their
do at the same
fire.
time. Yeah. So I think maybe they're still digesting the Game 7 loss from last year from in against Golden State. I think that's what it is. So
But now they're
what?
playing Brooklyn and they're playing Chicago, so that should be 2 wins. And then they have Indiana, and then again they play Thunder, Spurs, Indiana, Nuggets, and Warriors. So that's
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
tough.
There's a few games in there which are going to be certainly not easy. Yeah, cool.
All right,
Um,
man.
well, that was fun. I hope you enjoyed it. The 4 point
Yeah,
play. Do you like the name?
I like the name. Are we
Cool. Well,
off?
yes. Thank you very much for listening, everyone. And do we have anyone listening? No, we don't. Thank you for listening, no one. But it was a pleasure again to chat to you, and I look forward to next week again, when we're gonna have, I'm sure, another crazy week. I'm eating my words. I thought the pace was going to slow down already in the second week, and we're still seeing crazy games. So maybe we're in for a really wild season this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
Thank you.
All right, man.